Hey everyone, this is Cathy Iconis with QBOchat, and we are waiting for everyone to enter on into the room. I am joined today with Brandon Roth with Buildcom, and he is going to give us an awesome product tour, everything you want to know about Buildcom in there. So I feel like I see that we're still got people coming in. If you get a chance in the where are we in the chat area, go ahead and let us know where you are from, and if you're interested even in like a question, something specific you want to know about Build.com in there, go ahead and use that chat so that I can know that you can hear me. And we are doing good. So we got Tulsa, Oklahoma, Pismo Beach, California. Awesome. Atlanta, Georgia. Someone's there with me. Atlanta. Brandon, you're in Atlanta, right?
We are, yeah. ATL.
Oh, it's an Atlanta party. A virtual Atlanta party.
Right.
Awesome. And if you guys can see my background, it is a virtual background, but it is a construction background because my house is in a state of construction constantly. So you don't even want to see what's really behind me. Just
I'm gonna start using that excuse when I just get behind on cleaning a little bit. It's under construction. Work in progress right now.
Yeah, right now it's just trashed and stuff because we had to like load out a whole bunch of rooms to get new flooring in, and all that stuff has ended up in like various areas, including behind me, which I'm actually in the mudroom, not even in an office. So I can go on for days of how much this sucks. But we are here to talk about Build.com. And I wanted to say, if you guys have any questions, it'd be great if you could use the Q&A panel. I'm going to try to manage that and the chat area to watch everything that's coming in. And Brandon, if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead. And after that, we'll do a quick poll to kind of learn more about everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Brandon Roth. I'm the Senior Manager of Technical Marketing here at Build.com. So I'm a product expert here, essentially working on the education side. So I work with accounting firms specifically to help them understand how to best use our technology, how to get the most out of it, how to become the most efficient with it, increase their margins and realization rates with clients, all that fun stuff. So we'll go through that. We'll go through a demo of Build.com later as well.
Awesome. So let me launch this poll. And we got two questions out there. So the first one, do you provide bill pay services for your clients? And then the second one on there is, does your firm offer plan to offer client advisory services? I cannot talk. Maybe it's the fumes in here. So if you get a chance, please answer that poll. And we can see a little bit more about, who our audience is and what we will be addressing and talking about in here. So let's see. Got a lot of people that are not currently offering AP services. And then offering some advisory need to standardize across clients. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer for everyone to participate. We got 62%. So come on, guys, if you have not participated, please go in there and fill out that poll. It helps our friends at Build.com know more about what is going on with everyone out in the industry, in the real world, right?
Exactly right.
Sometimes it's hard to realize, make that connection between what you're doing on the software side and what you say, like the problems you're solving, but then also what happens in reality and the issues that people are having currently, or, things that they face and all that sort of stuff. It's nice to have that back and forth in conversations to be able to get there.
And that's what this is for. This is to be conversational, but also it's really cool to see how these numbers shift. Mm-hmm. Right? Like pre-COVID and post-COVID, we're getting very different answers than what we've seen in the past. In a lot of cases, a lot more people are getting into client advisory and client accounting services, which is cool.
Yes, that is definitely definitely the thing out there. Okay, well, I'm going to close it out. Let's see in my poll, and I am going to download the results really quick, just in case, guys, because I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Getting back into it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I will hand it off to you, Brandon, to let's get started.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if there's anybody on the call that doesn't know about us, who we are, what we do, we are a leader in financial process automation, specifically around bill pay, AR, AP, but also over the years, we've kind of scaled that and gone a bit further, and I'll get into that next. But just a few stats about us: 85% of the top 100 US accounting firms use us for their clients. We've built a lot of trust within the industry. We partner with leading US financial institutions, and we're now processing over $140 billion annually through our system. So a lot of folks are paying and getting paid with Buildcom. We've had some new integrations since the last time that we talked, Cathy. Of course, we still integrate with QuickBooks Desktop, Enterprise, Online, Oracle, NetSuite, Sage, Intact, Microsoft Dynamics now we've added recently as well. So if anybody is also working with mid-market clients, we have some capabilities there.
Yeah, I'd love to know if anyone does use a system other than QuickBooks. Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. You can just do it straight to the host and panelist, or share it with everyone if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. For those that are aware of Build.com, maybe you're even a current user of Build.com, or you know about us, we've made some pretty cool product updates lately, especially since the last time that we did a QBOchat. Number one, you probably heard that we acquired Divi last year. That was a major deal for us, and two amazing companies coming together to create an all-in-one platform. The idea here is, when we talk about expense management, I mean, AP, those are expenses, right? We need to talk about how to manage them better, how to be able to see them at a higher level, how to add in budgeting and expense management, also bring in what the spend is, like your corporate spend, things like that. It saves a lot of time, a lot of money. We want to be able to do that all under one dashboard. The combined solution gives businesses real-time insights into their spending, access to multiple payment solutions, including corporate cards now. And then we're trying to empower our clients to spend smarter. We want to give them valuable insights, allow you to give valuable insights to your clients to help them better manage their budgets and their cash flow, right? Simplify the back office operations. Now,
I'm sure you're going to get into it. So, but is Divi now kind of like inside Build.com?
That's an interesting question. It's so hard to answer. The easiest,
like I said, you'll probably show us, explain it.
Well, unfortunately, there's no way for me to demo it. As far as Divi works, because they have their own platform, it's going to continue to be their own platform for now. However, the idea is we want to be able to integrate some of those workflows. So there's going to be things in Build.com that directly work with Divi and back and forth, especially reporting, things like that. So that's on the roadmap, not yet. Okay. But so here's the cool thing. This is one thing where they do integrate directly. We recently introduced pay by card. Now, if traditionally you could only use a bank account to fund bill pay with Build.com. Well, recently we introduced pay by card. You can now use credit cards as a funding method. And that's MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover Card, Divi, obviously. Like anybody that's using Divi can now use it and reap those rewards while they're paying bills. So if you're a rewards member of American Express, I'm a Delta card member, right? All of that stuff can be rewarded back to you by paying the bills incrementally, which is pretty cool. Even if your vendor doesn't accept credit cards, because the credit card is the funding source, you can still send them a check or an ACH, international payments, all of that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Dynamic approvals is also very new. Traditionally, Build.com, you could set rules based on amount, very simple things. You can have default approvers based on the vendor that was in there. But now you can set approval routing rules based off of a myriad of things. And some of these only apply to mid-market or QuickBooks Desktop. But for QuickBooks Online, all the stuff that you need, class, the account code, employee location, things like that, all of that's built in now. And what that does is, you set these if-then rules. So, obviously, well, like with amount, if a bill comes in, it's over $10,000. Well, we want our CFO to sign off on it as well. If it's a marketing invoice, it's going to be attached to the marketing department, then we want our marketing representative or whoever to sign off that. That's the way that it's built in. So IVA will automatically add those approvers for you when it sees that bill. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. And I like that. How long have approver groups been around?
I mean, we've had
a while.
very basic dynamic approvals, but this amount this amount of detail was just released, I believe it was like November, December of last year. So we didn't make a huge splash about it, but it's been available for that amount of time.
I feel like a splash needs to be made. It's pretty cool.
I agree. But during that time of year, during the holidays, we get pretty quiet. We don't want to bug everybody, so we didn't.
That's
but
fair.
But the good news is too, and they didn't say that I couldn't announce this. It's not really a big deal, but we are going to start doing quarterly update webinars.
Oh, cool.
We'll start putting those out there, and you'll even in the product, you'll see a notification like, hey, we've got one coming up, and you can go and sign up and check it out. I think those are important. Being able to directly communicate what we're working on, whether it's released or in the future, that's what we want with those webinars.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is like, people that have either are new to the product or have been using the product for a really long time, they miss out on features. So if you're new, you don't realize, you might not get the very like standard level that everyone that's been using it forever gets taught. But also, if you're an older user, you don't necessarily, you get these new features and you're just like, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing and not really realize, oh, I could actually spend, save hours on something. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think one thing we've given the feedback to our product team over time, and I think they're doing a great job now of putting more in product messages. Nobody likes pop-ups when you get online, but when it has to do with your workflow and it can actually make your workflow better, we do want to see those. When dynamic approvals did come out late last year, we did put a pop-up in the program that says, hey, we've got this great new feature. Click here to learn more about how it works. Click here if you want to go directly and start creating those rules, right? So we're going to do a lot more of that in the future as well.
Now, just don't do the QuickBooks thing where I get a pop-up of, here, get used to the whole new accountant, or not new, but navigate the accountant menu. And I'm like, I've been using this for how long? Like, I cleared something and now you're giving it to me again. I've been around a while. I got this,
Oh yeah.
Like, I want to be able to get rid of it. If I
exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And ours has been pretty good. We'll see if any windows pop up in my demo here in a second. I'll definitely dismiss them. We'll see.
It's like, welcome to your new Build.com account.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be great?
5 years later, I've been paying bills. Well, what I wanted to do, again, when we took the poll earlier, it was kind of split in thirds. There's a third of folks that hadn't even really considered or are offering bill pay services, and that's fine. I think I liken it. I don't liken bill pay to payroll, but I just remember back when we were talking about payroll. It can be messy. Like, you don't want to get into it. You don't want to get past like just tax and compliance. You don't want to get past some of the basics of accounting. But bill pay as a service is, I think, one of the easiest to bridge into. You already have to clean up their AP every year. You already have to clean up the books, and having clean AP is such a core part of that, that if you can get in front of it and have the AP handled in real time, have a hand in how the bills are paid, getting them paid on time, removing a lot of those late fees and transaction fees and double paying and overpaying that your clients go through, not having to sift through the shoebox full of receipts and invoices at the end of the year to make sense of them because they're done, right? That's what this is about. But the opportunity itself is massive. And this is something people don't think about. there's a major study, and I've linked it here, so I'm happy to send it over to you, Kathy, or anybody that wants it. But it was done by
Okay.
Goldman Sachs Equity Research,
Uh-huh.
and it was regarding the state of business-to-business payments in North America specifically. And what they concluded is that American businesses are spending about $510 billion a year just to pay the bills. Those are the transaction costs. Those are, it's the time it takes to do it. It's headcount. It's fees related to payment processing, international payments, late fees, return checks, all that stuff, stamps, envelopes.
Yep.
All of that adds up to the $510 billion. And so when they average that out, by the way, that's the annual revenue of like Walmart, right? That's huge.
Crazy.
But basically when they averaged that out, what they found is each transaction is costing about $22 per transaction in America. We're not getting a receipt for that. We're not, handing somebody $22, but you've got the person that has to do it, the process of doing it, the paper checks, the approval process, getting things signed. If you're a nonprofit, you got to get things signed multiple times, and you got people across the world. And anyway, all of that to say, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, no, finish your.
I was just going to conclude that with this right here. This is opportunity for any accounting firm that wants to get into bill pay, because that 510 billion is revenue for any firm that wants to get out there and start solving these problems for these businesses, right? It's a huge pie that you can get a piece of simply by updating the processes of these clients, creating something a little bit more streamlined and standardized by automating some of the menial tasks like the actual bill pay entry or the invoice entry, right?
And you guys make it really easy once you set it up, and it might be a mind shift to go from paper to cloud, but you have the built-in system and flow. And really, guys, it's the exact same. Like, it can be treated and act the exact same as paper. It's really easy to do all of this in the cloud and get all the same information that you need. And yeah, it's really, really easy to do out there. And I've been doing it since I started my business 13 years ago. So, it's totally doable right there.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, if you have a traditional client, they only want to deal in checks, great. Mm-hmm. You only have to send checks out of Build.com, but you never have to touch one. You don't have to keep check stock. You don't have to go get them physically signed, right? It's all time stamped and it's all, stamped within Build.com. You schedule it. And that's the other cool thing. If you want to send paper checks, you've got one going out next month, schedule it now. It'll automatically go out next month, right? You don't have to wait until the day that you're ready to send that check, because it's going to get cashed once they receive it, right?
Well, like rent, I would do as a recurring one.
Exactly.
Just to go out. I would hold on to it as what I would do, things where I'd set up, like I would need to approve it before it would actually go out. And I was the last approver. So while it would sit in there and be ready to go, I'd be like, just to confirm I got enough cash in the checking account for this client. Okay, now I can send it.
Absolutely. So last piece about this, because I really think the opportunity portion of this is important. I want to show you in context of the accounting profession and what we're bringing in revenue on an annual basis. The entire bookkeeping and payroll market brings in about $75 to $100 billion a year. And that's everything. If you add up all the revenue of all the bookkeepers and those handling payroll in the US and the accounting profession, that's how much they're bringing in. Now, most firms see themselves within the entire accounting market, tax, audit, compliance. About $200 billion annually is what's being brought in. And that's everybody. That's the big four within the US, their US operations. 300, our top 300 are sole props. It's about $200 billion. And this data, again, this is from that Goldman Sachs report, also IBIS World Research, really cool benchmarking study. These two numbers, what we bring in as an industry, is dwarfed in comparison to the amount of wasted money that businesses spend to pay bills, to pay the vendors, right? So this is revenue that we'd be adding into our industry if we started to work with our clients on this. So again, headcount costs, processing fees, international payments, late fees, all these other factors. And I think a lot of firms just aren't really thinking about that. The important part, go ahead.
I just want to, if you have a minute, I just want to share this absolutely crazy story I have with a client.
Yes, please.
That can tell you about how messed up AP can be. So we have this client that invoices their customer for, the services that are provided. It's $20,000 something, right? There was some issue with it. They had to go back and forth, revise invoice, something sort of whatever, and ended up they wanted a refund for it, right? So somehow, it ended up like, okay, we gave them their money back. Well, something in their AP system still triggered another payment. Like, we refunded and then they paid us again. And it's like, dude, and tried telling him about it, nothing happens, whatever. So it sat on our books. I put it somewhere on the balance sheet. Yes, a negative AR on there for a year or something, right? Come along, and this is a huge company. Come along, the company's auditors come in, like, we want support for this invoice. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, actually, we refunded it. We've been waiting, so someone take the money. Like, they paid us again, take the money back. It's like, okay, well, yes, we need to refund them. You need to give that customer back the 20,000. Well, as soon as we do, paid us again. It's like 3 years. I just,
holy cow, just $20,000 floating.
And it's the only reason it came up is because the taxpayer's like, so what is this in uncategorized? And I'm like, I need to find the email from last year when I explained what the issue was. And it's like, well, here's what happened. Just so people make mistakes with AP, and if it's not a good system, you can have some huge mistakes.
Yeah.
Even though, like, we're sitting over here going, will you please take it back? Like, we don't want this. It's not ours. But nope, can't work it out somehow.
Yep. I'll tell you right now, and I took this slide out, but this is a great point. That same study, that Goldman Sachs study, showed that 60% of all invoices have some sort of exception. It takes a minimum of 15 to 30 minutes to resolve. That's the average for the entire US. 60% of all of our invoices have some issue with them, right? And that's what it's all about. I mean, again, it said 70% of all of us, or all of these small businesses, are doing very manual processes. It's humans all the way along the process. It's human error. You've got so many businesses out there that can't really afford to hire a headcount. So they've got their admin or somebody that has no experience in bill pay kind of handling some of this stuff. There's so many things that happen during that process. And even if you are maybe like a bookkeeper working with a business, trying to get all the information you need from them is so difficult at times. Often there's multiple places that the information is being kept. Like, somebody's keeping a spreadsheet, somebody's actually working in QuickBooks Online, somebody's got a paper ledger over here because she has forever, or he has whatever. So I just think that you need some sort of auxiliary system to keep track of this stuff. Make sure you're not double paying, overpaying, that if there is a payment that gets refunded, that it's being tracked.
Right.
You got it back, and it's letting you know if there's an issue with that money, or if it's still out there pending for 3 years, right? Yeah, it's just amazing. But that's what this is all about, right? This is why people spend so much money on the bill pay process. Is it can be a mess, and this slide is messy on purpose, but this actually is, if you walk through this is the traditional bill pay process, which is amazing. Like I said before, 70% of businesses are still using paper checks, right? Paper processes. A third of that $500 billion of inefficiency is due to manual tasks and processing fees. When you break that down, this is why, right? You get your invoices from different avenues. Maybe it's coming in the mail. Some are coming in via email. Some of them, you got to go out to a portal to retrieve them. Business owner might have that stack that's piling up. They hope to get to them by month end and get them all paid on time. It doesn't always happen. They have to be entered into an accounting system by somebody. Then you often have to go through an approval process, whether it's a memo that's being sent, an email that's being sent out, something. In many cases, I have seen like paper invoice comes in, it gets scanned. It's now an email attachment, gets sent over to somebody to print it, sign it, scan it back in, and send it back over. Now we've updated our technology. We have like digital signatures and stuff like that, which is awesome, but still like that's a lot to get one bill approved. Nonprofits, you know, and I was talking to you about this before the call, but nonprofits is a big part of Build.com's business because we help automate a lot of their compliance, you know, dual signatures on everything. Two people can be across the world, other ends of the earth, and they can both sign off on a bill just by pulling out their phone, swiping on it, move about their day.
Right.
And in a very paper intensive world, that's not possible. You know, you have to wait for people to be together. You have to ship things out for, you know, like approval packets and things like that. Once it's approved, then the payment process, this is, you know, this is where a lot of the fraud can come in. You know, clients tend to, depending on the relationship, are viable to like giving access to the bank account. Like a lot of accountants do have access to the client's bank account, their Chase account. They have access to a lot of accounts of a lot of their clients, things like that. And they're taking on some of the liability because of that. If anything goes wrong with that account, something happens, they're now part of that investigation and process. I would rather just not even bother with it. Just so many risk factors that come up there. Keeping check stock, obviously sending out paper checks that have your account information on it, or personal information, business information, things like that. Reconciliation, have to make sure that all of this information is entered into the accounting system, that the bank accounts reconcile those transactions. And again, exceptions, 60%, an extra 15 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes minimum. That's where so much time gets wasted. And even if like, Cathy, if only 25% of your invoices have an exception, that's still a quarter of your invoices. It's well below the American average, but that's still a fourth of your invoices, right? It's just insane when you think about it. So I'm going to jump into Build.com and we'll go through how this process works, but I just wanted to show you how we simplify it. You know, first things first, you got to capture the invoices. We try to make it as easy as possible. If we can make it ridiculously easy for a client to get the invoice to you, the document to you, they're more likely to do it, right? Instead of throwing it in that shoebox. Every client has their own dedicated email address and inbox. Any bill, any document, you know, contracts, terms and conditions, spreadsheets, whatever it might be, in addition to the invoices. The invoices themselves will actually scan and capture the data for you. So you're not doing the manual data entry. We're automating that tedious process. And once that's done, you're just reviewing to make sure that it's entered correctly, right? You're making sure that it's going to the right, or that it's coded to the right account, the right amount is being paid, it's going to the right vendor, the right approvers are set up. But you've already set all the correct rules. You've already set the right accounts last time you saw this invoice. You've already set all that stuff. So eventually, hopefully, and Cathy, we know this isn't always true, but hopefully you'll get to a point where you can just click a button and it goes off for approval, right? That's the goal. When you go to pay, there's many ways that you can pay within Build.com. You can still send out those checks, but you never have to touch one. ACH payments, international wires when needed. We have a virtual card offering. It's like a, you know, an e-card. If you have a vendor that wants to enter numbers in their POS system, we've got an option for that. Oh, and as far as checks go, by the way, so you never touch one, but also the checks come from Build.com.
Right.
You have that extra layer of security, right? It's not the client's information, it comes from us. Last piece, we help with reconciliation because we're syncing over to QuickBooks Online, right? We're syncing the information over to the GL, the creation of the expense and the liability, recording of the payment, removal of the liability, even the initial setup, all of your customers and vendors and QBOs all coming over into Build.com, and vice versa. If you create a vendor in Build.com on the spot, it's going to transfer over into QuickBooks Online next time it syncs too, things like that. So all that information, it lives in Build.com. All the transactions, all of the invoices, all the documents are attached. It's all there. You've got this audit trail, lasts virtually forever. Before I get into the demo itself, did you have any questions, Cathy, or anything you wanted to add?
Pretty good.
Okay,
So far.
cool. Well, that 4-step process, that's what I want to show. I want to show what it looks
Great.
like to automate the bill pay process. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in and kind of show you a scenario of, staff accountant, accounting firm working with the client. This particular client is, tech company, Initech LLC. We'll jump in here, and I got my two-factor authentication coming through. Trust me for 30 days. Let's see if you believe me.
Right.
And you can turn that off too if you don't want it. But of course, I mean, it's a great security feature to have. I prefer
Yeah,
it.
I would recommend it.
If you're moving the amount of money that we do, I prefer to have it. So I'll take the inconvenience. So Build.com, anybody that hasn't seen Build.com before, just a very quick tour. Side navigation bar is very common in almost any accounting software these days. Quick action button. I can do almost anything within Build.com within a couple of clicks. You got your payables tools here. We got our vendor lists, approvals, pending approvals, vendor credits. We can create bills here. We can pay bills, audit trail, and same for receivables. I'm not going to show you that process, but we do have some receivables functionality in here as well. Light reporting, just about anything you need to know, money in, money out, access to support, and you can learn more about international payments. We added this drop down recently. If you're managing a lot of different clients, you can switch from client to client very quickly and easily from here.
Nice.
You can even see if they have anything pending in their inbox, any overdue bills, any approvals pending, that kind of thing at a glance here. My demo company doesn't have all that stuff, but you will. In an intelligent search bar, you can find anything within Build.com very quickly and easily. And our network has millions of vendors that are already in it. Invite your vendors in so that they can receive e-payments, ACH payments, right? The idea is let them manage their own information. Let them manage their own bank account information, their own contact information, and we'll handle that. So you're not having to keep a record of all of your clients' vendors and all of their bank accounts and all that good stuff, right?
Right.
To-do list, anything that you need to do for the client at a glance. So you quickly get in and get things done. Recent things we've been working in recently. Sync, I'm not synced to anything right now, but again, sync it to QuickBooks Online, get all that information, start talking back and forth. And then high level overview, money in, money out. Here's bills to pay, open invoices, approvals that are pending, all self-explanatory, and you can click in and look at reports on any of those things. Build.com inbox, this is where the 4-step process works, right? Looks like an email or a Gmail inbox, right? Here's the custom email address for this particular business. And as the documents come in here, they're coming in order, and we can see exactly what needs to be done. The intelligent virtual assistant has looked at the invoice, it's pulled the information out, and it's told me I need to pay Hasi and a design $800 by this date. Now I can go in and view the further detail by entering the bill, and it'll show me exactly where it got the invoice number, the invoice date, the due date, the amount. It automatically filled in all of this information for me.
Fancy.
I started to split this account out, but I just wanted to show you real quick. You can split out into as many accounts as you need to. Instead of typing things in, like if you hover over the invoice, it makes it interactive.
That's
I can just click. Yeah, I just click and it copies and pastes for me. I don't need to do anything. Right, I can hover over this entire field here.
Right.
Yeah, I need to. Approvers, I can add approvers on the spot. But you can also, like I said, set up a default approver. In this case, it's the business owner. It's a small business. She wants to approve everything. And I can set all of those different approval rules. So if this was an invoice over $10,000, it might have added the CFO, Brandon, right? I'm going to be the CFO of this company now.
There you go. Pay raise.
No, yeah, exactly. What am I doing this for? And you can communicate in real time. So this is going to Michelle, and I'm going to say, hey, Michelle, make sure this is the right invoice. Skip the phone call, skip the email. When she receives this to approve it, she's going to see whatever notations that you put in there for your client. And she'll be able to communicate back in the same way. And it'll keep a record of this in the audit trail, by the way, as you go. So that's done. I took a long time to walk through that one, but that's not how this is supposed to work. This is how it's supposed to work. This is our monthly, brick and mortar lease right here. RPM property group, it automatically pulled them up. It already pulled up everything, including the account that it's going to go to. There's no approver on this. I approve it myself in this case. So I'm just going to save it and it automatically goes through and ready for payment.
Nice.
One click of a button. The invoice was emailed in by my property group. I clicked the button, it's off for payment, and the payment's going to be one button as well. That bill is done, right? Duplicate, see this red flag here?
Yeah.
I was going to make sure you're not double paying and overpaying invoices. It's going to make sure that these numbers are matching up. If it is a duplicate, it's going to tell you what that invoice is. You can go just make sure that it was paid, right? So just lots of checks and balances that are going to make sure that you're paying only what you need to.
So what do you usually do when you have that duplicate?
If this is in fact a duplicate, I mean, I'll get rid of it.
Okay.
I'll just take it out of my inbox and delete it.
I think what I did, so I had a client that would I don't know, somehow I'd get the email like 500 times, really like 3,
Oh, no.
but whatever. I would just add it to the original document so that
you can do that.
Yeah, so that they would show, like, if you went back to it, you see like, oh, well, you sent it in 3 times and it's all in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that under more now or?
Yeah, here you can add to existing. Also, the one thing I should add too, if you do have an invoice that's not a duplicate and it's already been paid outside of Build.com, then you can go here and you can mark it as paid as well.
Oh, cool.
Payment received right here. And so it'll still transfer over into QuickBooks Online as that transaction. So you can still reconcile the transaction, all that good stuff. So that is capturing the invoices and submitting for payment. I'll jump into approvals real quick here. Important to note that there's lots of controls within Build.com. So if you only want certain user roles to see certain things or your clients to see certain things, you can set their user role to do that. In this case, the approver, as you notice, they can only approve. That's it.
Yep.
That's all they can do. Bill approvals, vendor credits. They can access the inbox, but only to add invoices or add documents here, nothing else. I can see everything I need to from this page to approve something. I don't need to go in. I can bulk approve or batch approve, or I can go in and view the details. See, here's that note that I left. Make sure this is the right invoice. And I can approve it, or, if there is something wrong, maybe I'll communicate right back. Say, hey, Max, actually waiting on a new invoice. Yeah. Done. That's been kicked back to Max, the staff accountant. He'll take care of it from there. This one looks good. This is our brick and mortar. Prove it. It's gone. Done and done. Easy.
Yeah.
Nothing else I need to. And ideally, like your client or whoever's involved in this process, they're going to pull out their cell phone and they're just going to swipe and approve.
Swipe.
Good, good, good. Back to business, back to whatever they're doing best. Last thing I'll show you real quick is payments. Let me get logged out here. So in this case, and again, we always recommend separation of duties. It's a best practice to prevent fraud. And most accounting firms do too. You really want to have multiple people in the line so that the person that's sending in the invoice or receiving the invoice and creating the bill is not the same person that's paying and creating a fake vendor and adding their own bank account to it, something like that. So separation of duties, super important. We've got a separate payer in this case, also at the firm, but that's all they do is they pay all of the invoices for all of the clients at the firm. Different login, different code here. So When we go to pay, again, everything I need is on this main screen. I can pay from here. I can even change the bank account from the screen if I want to. There's multiple accounts or credit cards. I can batch pay, bulk pay. We were talking about, setting some payments for the future, even if they're a check. And I can do that here. Like this payment is a check and I'm going to send it out 2 months from now because I know it's good 2 months from now, right? Or set it up as a recurring payment like you do. This particular one, I'll go ahead and get in here. Look, here's that note. This is the one that I approved earlier, actually. So this one was approved by Michelle. I got a timestamp here. Everything looks good on the last line of defense to make sure. I'm going to send it off for payment. This one happens to be going out as a check. I'll see exactly when they get it. Don't mind my late payments. It's a demo account. Default to the bank account here, but again, you can add credit cards. Vendor is going to receive an email and they can track this payment themselves. So they don't have to call you. They don't have to call the business owner. Hey, where's my money at? Get that confirmation. And then it's all in the audit trail. Here's all the payments I've been making. You can see when it was processed, sent, cashed. I'll get the check images here from the bank once it's done. Right. And then all of that information also lives within your vendor list. So here's Hasi in the design. Here's literally every penny that I've ever paid them, every document, every single transaction. It's all here. Again, you can send any kind of document in. So I've also kept their contract here attached to their vendor profile, scope of work that we did with them, a W-9. It's like you get a full 360-degree. And you can even add notes like, wife and kids names. So next time you call them up, hey, how's Judy doing? That kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot more to Buildcom. I know that, Cathy. There's a ton to Buildcom, but those are the basics. And even at the smallest level, it's so much easier and more efficient to start doing bill pay this way than waiting until the end of the year to clean up all of this stuff that you could have done in real time. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
So I'll point out, you want to go back in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a few minutes. I just want to point out some of the cool things. Yeah, what you were talking about, being able to see the check that's cleared.
Yes.
Is a big thing for me. That's, if you think of a traditional AP department that a vendor calls in and is like, hey, yeah, I have a question about some sort of thing. Usually you have to go to a filing cabinet or to different systems, pull up the bank to get the, see what the check was, or yeah, one of the different options you have, different places you have to go. But this is all in one place. Mm-hmm. So I would be able to, easy for me as a bookkeeper, say, hey, look, I'm going to manage accounts payable for you. So anytime a vendor has a question or anything like that, they can come to me and I'll answer the question. I'll be able to give them, help them figure this out. Where did that payment go? Blah, blah, blah. Because I can come in here and be like, oh, well, you got that via ACH as of this date, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you with that sort of thing. But it's just super easy to come in here and get all the information that you need with whatever situation that comes up.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
And as opposed to like the traditional way of doing that with a paper intensive process, right? Like checks in the mail, right? I mean, until we know otherwise, checks in the mail, it's on its way.
And especially like, getting the email, your vendor getting the email saying, hey, the check is coming, or ACH is coming, you should expect it to clear your bank as of this date, that sort of thing. It's all very clear. Yeah. It's just the clarity behind it is great. The one thing too, on the settings, that you have so many options on settings and configuring different things, I would recommend to go in and look at your client's email preferences. Make sure that they don't get an email every time something changes, or a daily one or something like that. Like go in and change that for them.
Yeah. I agree. And I think because I think the current setup is they have to go in themselves, right? And like change how often they get emails from Bill.com.
Right. Well, I've been able to go into like my user or, into the company and look at the users since I'm the admin on it and
Yeah.
go in, and there's an option to, and this has been, like I was telling Brandon before, I let go of my last client last year that used Bill.com, so I haven't been in it in a year, but being able to go in, users, permissions users, I think, and then look at the user itself, go in, edit there.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually
Yeah,
done
like
anything with
right
email
in
settings,
there.
but yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is done here, and essentially what they're able to do,
Right.
what they
There's
receive communications on.
yeah, there's a place I've been able to go in and be like, okay, just don't notify them for everything.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
that's
it's clearly defining the expectation with the client of what their role is in the AP process and what they're to expect.
mhm.
So, I've worked for a huge global construction company. They write checks for our division 1 day a week. And I don't think that is a bad expectation for other businesses to have. Be like, no, we do our bill pay on this day. So you have to get all of your information in before then, and that's when it goes out. So I would do that with my clients and be like, okay, every Thursday you go in and you pay your bills because I have processed everything. Everything's ready to go for you then. And then just wait another week. And it's that constant flow of things. And yeah, being very clear of what their job is in here.
Yeah,
And all the different departments. Okay, what is your job? When do you need to be doing this? Making sure they don't break down the workflow on anything.
yep,
Because that's where, I mean, no matter if you're doing that on paper or in the cloud, it's just the people and the workflow and who's holding you up.
yeah, exactly right.
So, but yeah, you take out so much data entry out of this. I mean, you could pretty much get rid of, an AP clerk or, yeah, one employee maybe for, depending on the size of the business, of doing all this because you got rid of it. And now it's just someone that manages the software part of it, making sure it all works.
Yep, exactly right.
So,
That's what it's all about.
yeah. So someone was asking about being able to see the integration looks like on the QBO side, and it's just a matter of it puts it in there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's settings that you can go in on there on QuickBooks and say how you want to map certain things. Are you able to do classes and locations?
I think for QBO, yeah, I don't have a version of that,
I know
but
you can do classes.
I'm pretty sure classes is definitely in there.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten into like job costing or any of those modules yet, but yeah, that functionality is there. But exactly right. I mean, when an invoice is created in Bill.com, now you should note the automatic sync is once every 24 hours. So it'll automatically sync once every 24 hours. That's when you'll see everything updated into QBO, but you can also do it manually at any point in time with a click of a button. So once it syncs, then you can go in and view your bills within QBO, and you'll see them created there all the way throughout the process. Once they're paid, you'll see that those bills are paid, right?
And I would recommend just staying out of QBO's AP side because it's all here in Bill.com. Like this should be the beginning of the workflow and the master of the workflow for any bills. Because if you go over to the QBO side and start doing stuff there, then it breaks the system down and you can get questions and confusion.
Exactly. You've already done the account coding inside of Bill.com. I mean,
right.
At the end, now it's going to hit your GL and it's already going to be coded properly. Reconciliation becomes a breeze at that point.
And when the payment's done, it's automatically entered in there. You do have a clearing account that gets set up in QBO, and Bill.com takes care of all of the entries properly. The only thing I ever did on month end was I would go into reports and run in AP aging as of the last day of the month and compare that to the AP aging in QBO as the last day of the month. If they're the same, yippee, all the integration works, no issues, you're good to go. So, I mean, that was usually I just go through that step just to double check everything's fine on things.
Yep.
Now, do you know anything about the images to sync from QBO? Is there a way to get the images to sync from QBO to Build.com? This person's using Dext. My question is just that, yeah, what information goes into QuickBooks images wise or going back? You know, how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole idea of having a system like Build.com is that is the source of truth for all things, at least AP, but also AR if you're using Build.com for AR. That's the source of truth for everything. So images do not sync back and forth from QuickBooks Online to Build.com and vice versa. Those documents, you can upload them to the Build.com inbox if you want to. You can do that in bulk. You know, if you want to just in batch, you want to send a bunch of documents into Build.com, you can attach them to the proper transactions that have already been created, right? That's perfectly fine. But it's, and again, there's a lot of folks that will argue differently, but it is kind of an unnecessary addition to your workflow at that point. Build.com is that, you know, virtual check registry. Everything's there. All of the documents are there. The entire audit trail is there. And I do think a lot of people want everything to live in the GL, and I totally get that. But honestly, if somebody comes in for an audit, give them read-only access to Build.com, let them go in and have at it. They've got access to all the documents. They've got access to every transaction. You know, it's all there. You just don't need it.
Right. Yeah. And if you have, for me, usually the question would be, it would come up if it's on QuickBooks, it's because I'm going through the end of the month and reviewing transactions and I have a question about something, right?
Yep.
Well, if I have a question about something, then I didn't put enough of a description on what the transaction was.
Right.
So, and, you know, I tell people don't write like a short novel or anything about the transaction, but do it enough so that the books can stand alone, no matter if you have a receipt or not, or a bill or not attached to it. You need to know what this thing is.
Yep.
So yeah, just being able to just copy the text from the bill into the description area is a huge thing. And that gives you enough to dive into anything on the QBO side. And yeah, you can come back into Build.com if you need to go any further. But just the same thing that you would see in, like, it's online filing cabinet that's organized and properly sorted and all this, you know, like it has everything you need all in one. Instead of going in to, I don't know how many paper cuts I used to get. Folder cuts are the worst. Like those are really bad.
Well, forget about the amount of space it takes up in your office or in your, you know, wherever your brick and mortar is. But yeah, I mean, you can, and you don't have to do this. We have this entire like filing cabinet, virtual filing cabinet, unlimited space here, and you can separate on it into all kinds of different folders. You can do that if you want to. We've also, like I said, when you go into each vendor, it's already attached. Every single document is built in here. If you want to, you know, pull all of your W-9s out into a separate folder, you can so easily do that right here, right? Document management, all of that stuff is built in here. And it's not to say that we won't possibly someday start, you know, taking images of invoices from one platform to another, but as of right now, we haven't seen the need. We don't get a lot of demand for it. I think once people start using Build.com, they start to see why.
Yeah.
You know, it's just why add that extra step in your workflow.
I know someone asked about how do you get vendor credits in Build.com, and it's just a matter of creating a new vendor credit. And when you go to pay them, it shows you what's sitting out there to be applied.
Yep.
So it's super crazy simple.
Yeah,
just
and
run that.
there's two ways you can do it too. There's from the bills tab, you can apply vendor credits.
Uh-huh.
And then also from the bill itself, you can apply vendor credits. I don't know. Let me see if I can see that from this side. But yeah, enter vendor credit.
Vendor credit.
So yeah, there's very easy ways to do that. Multiple ways you can do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Does anyone else have any questions about Buildcom? Anything that you're surprised to learn about? Anything? I know I just have some ideas from this conversation. I feel like that I need to write something about like the common errors that people make with AP.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Paying twice is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And paying, like I refuse to ever pay anything from a statement. I will go back to the vendor and ask for the invoices to support it, because I've seen so many times, yeah, the clients are paying from a statement and then they overpay, and you're trying to figure out, unravel that whole mess. And it's like, no, if we just go off of invoices, I appreciate you sending me a statement and saying this is the amount that's open. I'm going to verify that in my system that I have all those invoices and that we're in the right place, because if I don't, means someone didn't send it to me or didn't get in the right place. So that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a huge one. The duplicates. Yeah. It would be a very short blog post, because I feel like it's these couple common things that people don't even realize make up the majority of the issues.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just did, I do a lot of interviews of our customers, of folks that are looking at Build.com, just to learn, how they're applying it to their daily workflows, things like that. I recently did, I did a number of interviews with just bookkeepers, bookkeepers, not accountants, not CPAs, specifically how they were working. They're not using Build.com, by the way. The people I was interviewing, we sourced a bunch of folks that are doing the paper intensive process. That was the number one issue that they had, was because of poor record keeping, usually on the side of the business owner or like whoever's operating on that side. So many invoices were getting double paid, overpaid, because like an addendum invoice would have come through with a different amount or something like that. Paying twice, like I said, all these different things where their cash flow is out of whack on a regular basis, because there's cash floating out there, like with your example, right? There's just cash floating out there that they're trying to get all back, but while they're getting that money back, they're overpaying over here. So.
Right. It's like, oops, I prepaid basically this invoice for a year, or this vendor for a year, because I double paid or did whatever. Oh, that's not cool.
Exactly.
Things. It gets a little crazy. And that's on the other side when I'm managing invoices for clients, and I do that in QBO. And if I'm sending out reminders or something like that, I know that there are certain clients that I have, their customers could double pay just based off of like knowing, what kind of clients they are and all this sort of stuff. And it gets into, like, I have this account summary shown on the invoices that shows the past due amount. And when you send it over in QBO, it just gives you the new total amount of everything that you owe. And people will do that and then pay an invoice that they already had in the system. And I'm just like,
yes, more hours for me.
I hate having to refund someone. I hate having to, I just don't like messing with people's money, and I want it in the right places.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
So, awesome. So this is where the accountants should go.
That's it. Yeah. If you want to learn more about Build.com, even if you're a current customer, if you just want to learn more about what we're doing, so the recent product updates, go to Build.com/for-accountants. I'm sorry, for-accountants. That's where you can learn more. And you can also sign up for a trial if you want to just check it out, or do a one-on-one personal demo with any one of us. We're happy to go through and like really get down in the nitty-gritty of like how you work with your clients currently. And we can show you how you can use Build.com to adapt that process. We don't have to change your entire world.
Yeah.
You know, some of the things you're already doing, you can do just by supplementing Bill.com and just making it a little bit more efficient, right? Or you can take it the whole 9 yards. So yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Brandon, for your time and showing us Build.com. As you know, I've been using or have been a user customer forever. Don't have one currently on it, but you know, not for the product itself. It's just we didn't have a need anymore. So
Did you say 13 years before? Did you say 13? We just celebrated our 15th birthday, which is, you know, we can drive now almost basically. But yeah, so you're original Bill.com user. That's pretty awesome.
yes, I have been around for knowing a lot of employees. How about that?
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
And knowing, yeah. And yeah, since the beginning, almost since the beginning. And meeting people out of Palo Alto, 11, everything about Bill.com and
That's
seeing
awesome.
the wonderful network that you guys have. So, but thank you again for your time. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll try to get everything over to Brandon and we'll be good. So thank you, everyone. You have a great, what day is it?
Is it the 1st of March yet? No, it's 23rd of February.
It's Wednesday because yesterday was Tuesday. So.
Tuesday. Yes.
I quit construction in my house.
I love
Okay. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Take care.